Why alien training officers freaked out after the cadet finished a full week. The air smelled strange, faintly metallic but clean, and he could hear the quiet hum of energy fields running through the corridors. Around him, cadets of all shapes and sizes moved with purpose. Some had 6 arms, some glowed faintly, and others floated inches above the ground. Alex felt small, human small. Compared to these alien beings, he looked fragile and ordinary. His uniform was basic, made from Earth's standard space fabric, while the other cadets wore adaptive suits that changed color with their mood or environment. "Welcome, human," a tall, insect-like officer said, her multiple eyes blinking in quick succession. Her voice was like clicking stones, almost musical, but it made Alex's stomach twist with nerves. "I am T. Kira. I will observe your first day." Alex swallowed. "Thank you, ma'am." His voice sounded smaller than usual. He had trained for this moment his entire life. On Earth, humans were still considered younglings in the galaxy, barely tested outside their solar system. Most alien species thought humans weak, unpredictable, and unsuitable for interstellar training. But Alex had something else, something the records didn't always show. Humans could adapt, think fast, and find solutions when nothing seemed possible. He didn't tell anyone that. Not yet. The first exercise began in a large, circular room called the adaptation chamber. Holographic projections filled the walls, simulating environments from boiling deserts to frozen wastelands. Each cadet was given a survival pack, which contained the tools they would need to survive the challenges. Alex looked down at his pack, a small multi-tool, a universal translator, a basic energy ration, and a hydration capsule. He swallowed again. Compared to the alien cadets' advanced gear, his seemed minimal, but he had learned to make little tools do big work. The first test was simple on paper: navigate a maze filled with obstacles while maintaining balance in zero gravity. The alien officers watched from a transparent control room above. The other cadets shot into the maze like sparks. A quadrupedal alien sprinted forward, its limbs moving faster than Alex could follow. A floating jelly-like cadet glided effortlessly over gaps. Some advanced immediately, others faltered. Alex took a deep breath. He reminded himself of the first rule he had learned from Earth's explorers: observe, plan, adapt. He floated into the maze slowly at first, letting the gravity simulators push and pull him. He noticed patterns. The floating cadets always turned left at the narrow passages, while the armored ones hesitated at the energy fields. Using this, he calculated his moves and adjusted his momentum carefully. By the time the other cadets were halfway, Alex had already reached a difficult area that most aliens struggled with: a narrow corridor with shifting walls. His heart pounded as the walls moved closer. Humans weren't the strongest, but humans were clever. He used his multi-tool to create tiny hooks, anchoring himself against the moving walls. Inch by inch, he pushed forward, careful and steady. By the end of the maze, Alex emerged second, not first, but far ahead of expectation. The alien instructors exchanged glances, their antennae twitching nervously. "Interesting," T. Kira said, her many eyes narrowing. "He is alive and not struggling like the others." The day continued with mental simulations. Each cadet was placed in a telepathic synchronization test, where they had to match patterns of thought projected by alien instructors. Most cadets failed immediately, overwhelmed by the unfamiliar mental energy. Alex closed his eyes and focused. Instead of trying to match the alien thought patterns exactly, he looked for logic. Alien minds often repeated sequences, even when random. He discovered the rhythm, anticipating the next thought, and completed the simulation successfully. By midday, he was already drawing attention, not admiration yet, but confusion. Alien officers whispered among themselves, sending small waves of concern to each other. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but Alex wasn't just surviving. He was learning faster than the system expected. During lunch, Alex sat alone at a neutral table, unsure how to interact with the other cadets. He didn't have 6 arms to shake hands or tentacles to exchange signals. He didn't glow or float, but that didn't matter. A small, floating cadet approached him, its translucent body pulsating faintly. "You human?" it asked, its voice like water dripping. "Yes," Alex said. "Alex Mercer." "I am Elrix," it said. "You move differently, efficient, curious." Alex smiled faintly. "Thanks." "I'm trying to learn fast," Elrix nodded. "Most of us try to survive, you adapt." Alex thought about that. He didn't just want to survive, he wanted to understand, improve, and overcome. Humans had always relied on creativity and problem-solving when the odds were stacked against them. Maybe that would matter here too. The afternoon brought physical drills, testing agility, endurance, and coordination. Alien instructors created environments designed to overwhelm any single species. Fire that burned hotter than any human had ever felt. Gravity that shifted unpredictably. Air that changed density. The other cadets faltered. Many simply could not continue. Alex pushed forward, ignoring the burning heat, using handholds and momentum to move efficiently. When gravity shifted, he didn't panic. He adjusted his stance, imagining himself as a pendulum, swinging in harmony with the environment. By the end of the drills, he was exhausted, sweating despite the controlled temperature. But he had completed every task, not perfectly, but complete. Alien cadets looked on in disbelief, some whispering in their languages. As night fell, the cadets returned to their quarters. Alex lay on his bed, muscles aching, heart racing, and mind alive with observations. He thought about the officers watching him today. Their notes, their murmurs. He could feel their concern, not anger, not pride. Concern. Humans had a reputation for being weak in the galaxy, and he had just broken that perception in a single day. He thought of Earth, of quiet nights spent reading books, building gadgets, and solving problems that no one else could. Those skills, once dismissed as minor, had brought him here, and now they were saving him in ways the aliens didn't understand. Suddenly, the door to the dorm opened. Kira stepped in, her many eyes reflecting the dim light. She didn't speak immediately. Instead, she circled the room, studying him. Alex sat up. "You survived the first day," she said finally, her voice even. "You should not be alive. Most species, even the clever ones, fail. You continue." Alex swallowed. "I'm trying to learn." Her eyes narrowed. "It is not your learning that surprises me. It is your ability to apply it in real time. You do not panic, you do not fail, you adapt, unlike any species I have seen in this facility." Alex didn't respond. He only nodded. Words were not necessary. Kira left, but her presence lingered. In that moment, Alex understood something profound. He wasn't just representing himself. He represented all of humanity. And if humans could adapt and survive like this, perhaps the galaxy had underestimated them entirely. He lay back down, thinking about the days to come. 6 more days. 6 more days of tests, simulations, and drills designed to break cadets. And yet, for the first time, Alex felt a spark of confidence. He could make it. Not because he was stronger or faster, but because he was human, resourceful, clever, and determined. As sleep took him, the last thought in his mind was clear. If today was only day 1, the aliens have no idea what humans are truly capable of. And somewhere far above in the observation chamber, Kira and her fellow officers whispered among themselves. "He's still standing." The week had only just begun. The morning sun, or what passed for morning in the Galactic Academy, streamed through the vast windows, painting the training hall in soft, alien colors. Alex Mercer sat quietly on the edge of his bunk, eating a simple nutrient gel. He had survived his first day, but the thought of the next challenges made his stomach tighten. Today promised to be harder. The Academy didn't believe in easy days. Each morning began with a new environment, a new set of rules, and a test designed to push cadets to the brink. Alex was no exception. "Cadets!" A booming voice echoed through the hall. Alex jumped slightly. The speaker was Cathar, a massive reptilian officer whose scales shimmered like molten metal. "Today's training will push your bodies, your minds, and your spirit." "Only the adaptable survive?" Alex's heart thumped. He tightened the straps of his uniform. Humans were not known for strength, and the alien officers already doubted his chances. Yet he had a quiet confidence. He remembered Earth's explorers who had faced impossible odds, often with nothing but ingenuity and courage. He could do the same. The first exercise was a multi-species obstacle course. Unlike yesterday, this course was not just about speed. It tested endurance, balance, and teamwork. Holographic projections created shifting landscapes, molten lava rivers, floating platforms, and energy fields that pulsed unpredictably. The other cadets moved with grace, their alien bodies perfectly suited to the challenges. Alex took a deep breath. He observed first. He noticed patterns in the shifting platforms and the timing of the energy pulses. Instead of charging forward like most cadets, he used a series of clever maneuvers. rolling under low beams, swinging across gaps, and using his momentum to stabilize his jumps. His human body, though weaker, was light and flexible, allowing him to adapt in ways the heavier alien cadets could not. Halfway through the course, disaster struck for one cadet, a towering, four-armed alien named Virilok. One of the floating platforms collapsed, sending him tumbling. Most cadets would have panicked, but Alex reacted instinctively. He grabbed a nearby energy rope and anchored himself, swinging toward Virilok. With careful precision, he pulled him back onto a stable platform. The instructors gasped. It was not part of the exercise to help others. Survival was personal, not collective, yet Alex's actions demonstrated something unexpected, human ingenuity combined with empathy. "You, human, do not follow protocol," Cathar growled, eyes narrowing. "Why intervene?" Alex simply shrugged. "Because it's smarter to help than to lose one of us. If Virilok falls, he won't complete the course and the mission fails." Cathar blinked. No alien had ever answered like that. Most would have remained silent or obeyed blindly. By the end of the course, Alex finished near the top. Some alien cadets glared at him while others whispered. The officers exchanged tense glances. One muttered, "He is learning faster than expected." Next came the psychic synchronization test, which challenged cadets to align their thoughts with a complex alien network. Most cadets struggled immediately, overwhelmed by the alien mental waves. Alex had no psychic ability. Humans were not naturally telepathic. But he did have a sharp mind and a keen sense of pattern recognition. He closed his eyes and let the mental images wash over him. Instead of trying to mimic the aliens exactly, he looked for the rhythm of the thoughts. Every pattern repeated in small ways, and by anticipating the sequences, he matched them successfully. The alien officers stared in disbelief. One whispered to another, "He solved it without psychic power." Lunch was quieter than yesterday. Alex sat alone again, thinking. The energy gel did little for taste, but it fueled his body. He thought about how aliens relied on their natural advantages: strength, telepathy, adaptability to extreme environments. Humans had none of these. Yet Alex realized humans had something different: flexibility of thought and the ability to invent on the fly. A small, floating cadet approached him. It was Elrix, the one who had befriended him yesterday. "You are unusual," Elrix said. "Your mind, it moves differently." "Most cadets fight the environment, you dance with it." Alex smiled faintly. "I just try to learn. If I panic, I fail. If I observe, I survive." Elrix pulsed softly, almost like a laugh. "Perhaps humans are dangerous, not in strength, but in mind." The afternoon brought extreme environment drills. Cadets were sent to rooms simulating conditions far beyond human limits: scorching heat, freezing cold, low oxygen, and high radiation. Alien bodies adapted naturally, but humans were fragile. Alex felt the heat sear his skin and the cold bite his bones. He focused on controlling his breathing, moving slowly, and using the environment cleverly rather than fighting it. In the heat chamber, he used the wall's reflective surfaces to shield himself from the worst rays. In the freezing chamber, he curled into a tight position, reducing exposure while moving steadily toward the exit. In the low-oxygen room, he synchronized his movements with deep, measured breaths. Other cadets struggled. Many collapsed or froze in panic. Alex pressed on inch by inch, step by step. By the end, he emerged shivering but alive. The alien instructors were watching closely. Cathar hissed, his voice trembling slightly. "He survives without adaptations. It is impossible." The final exercise of the day was a communication challenge. Cadets had to navigate a maze using alien languages and symbols. Most cadets failed quickly, misreading signs or misinterpreting signals. Alex paused. He noticed that symbols had consistent patterns. He created mental shortcuts, remembering shapes and their meanings. Slowly, deliberately, he navigated the maze, even correcting mistakes others had made. By the time he reached the exit, the lead officer, T. Kira, was frowning. She motioned to a fellow officer. "He adapts in ways we cannot predict. Monitor him closely. Do not underestimate him." Alex didn't know he had caused such alarm. To him, it was just training. Another day, another challenge. But the aliens were starting to realize something significant. Humans could think differently, act differently, and succeed where no other species could. As night fell, cadets returned to their quarters. Alex sat on his bunk, exhausted but alert. Elrix floated next to him. You will continue tomorrow? It asked. Alex nodded. I will, one day at a time. That's all anyone can do. Elric's pulsed with a faint glow. Your species, you survive. You do not merely endure, you adapt. I have never seen anything like this. Alex smiled softly. That's all we ever do. Adapt, learn, survive. Somewhere in the observation chamber, alien officers were convening in secret. Tikira's many eyes gleamed with unease. He has survived 2 days. He is human. He should be fragile. He should fail. Yet he continues. This is unprecedented. One officer, a tall crystalline being, whispered, He will finish the week, and if he does, it will change how we see humans forever. Cathar hissed softly. We cannot predict him. We cannot control him. This human is unlike anything in the galaxy. Alex slept little that night, though he didn't realize it. His body was tired, but his mind was alive, planning, observing, analyzing. Each day brought new challenges, and he was ready to meet them. Humans had faced impossible odds for millennia on Earth, and now in the galaxy, Alex would continue the same tradition. Adapt, survive, and learn. As the lights dimmed in the cadet quarters, Alex's last thought was not fear, not doubt. It was simple, tomorrow I will keep going. I will finish the week, and no one, alien or otherwise, will predict what humans can do. And far above in the observation deck, alien officers whispered again, their voices tight with tension and awe. He survives, he adapts, and he thinks differently. The human is unpredictable, dangerous. The week had only begun, but already the aliens were beginning to question everything they thought they knew about humanity. The sun, or its alien equivalent, rose slowly over the Galactic Academy. Alex Mercer stretched, rubbing the soreness from his muscles. 2 days had passed, and already he felt the strain in his body. Yet unlike some cadets who were exhausted, he felt alert, sharp, and ready. Today was no ordinary day. Today, the training shifted from endurance and observation to advanced tactical simulations. The alien officers had grown curious and uneasy. They were beginning to see a pattern in Alex's performance. He didn't just survive. He adapted in ways no other cadet could, finding solutions that were not in the training manuals. Cathar, the massive reptilian instructor, stood in front of the cadets, his metallic scales glinting under the academy lights. Today, he said, his voice like rolling thunder, you will face challenges that test your mind, your coordination, and your ability to work with multiple species under extreme pressure. Only the most adaptable will succeed. Alex's stomach tightened. Multi-species coordination meant dealing with cadets who could barely understand him. The telepathic cadets had unpredictable mental flows. The physical cadets had reflexes faster than human eyes could track. And yet, Alex remained calm. Humans had always worked in groups, learned new languages, and solved complex problems without brute strength. This was just another kind of challenge. The first exercise was a simulated multi-dimensional maze. Cadets had to navigate through shifting hallways while completing tasks and avoiding traps. The maze itself changed unpredictably, walls appearing and disappearing, platforms moving in 3 dimensions. Most alien cadets panicked. Their bodies were built for speed and strength, but not for human creativity. They relied on instinct, repeating the same movements that had worked before. Alex paused, studied the patterns, and noticed the subtle shifts in the walls. Then he began thinking like a human inventor, not just a cadet. He used his momentum to swing across gaps, balanced precisely on moving platforms, and anticipated the maze's transformations before they happened. Elrix floated beside him, its translucent body pulsing softly. Your method's unusual, it said. Yet effective, you anticipate, not react. Most of us only react. Alex smiled faintly. Observation and planning work better than panic. By the end of the maze, Alex reached the exit faster than expected, even impressing some alien cadets. The officers in the observation deck exchanged worried glances. Tikira, the insectoid officer, whispered, His human mind, it calculates, predicts, and adapts in ways our species cannot. He is extraordinary. The next exercise was even more difficult, multi-species combat coordination. Cadets were divided into teams with members of different species. The goal was to protect a simulated energy core from virtual attackers. Most teams failed immediately because alien instincts clashed. Telepathic cadets moved too quickly, armored cadets ignored instructions, and floating cadets drifted off course. Alex observed quietly. He realized the key was not trying to control the others, but understanding their strengths and weaknesses. He adjusted the team's positions, using the armored cadets as shields, the telepathic ones as scouts, and the floating ones as quick responders. When the simulation began, chaos erupted. Laser projections, energy blasts, and mental interference filled the arena. Other teams collapsed almost immediately, but Alex's team moved in harmony, adapting on the fly. When a shield failed, he improvised a barrier from nearby debris. When a cadet got trapped, he calculated a rescue path in seconds. By the end, the energy core was intact. Alex's team had succeeded where no other had. The alien officers were stunned. Cathar hissed, his tail lashing nervously. Coordinates instinctively. This should be impossible for a human. After a brief rest, the cadets were taken to a problem-solving chamber. Here, complex technical puzzles awaited. Broken alien machinery, coded sequences, and power grids that needed reactivation under pressure. Most cadets froze, overwhelmed by the unfamiliar tools and symbols. Alex approached the first puzzle cautiously. He examined the machinery, testing parts and observing their reactions. Instead of following instructions, he applied human logic. When a panel didn't respond, he didn't panic. He traced the circuits, adjusted connections, and used one simple trick he had learned on Earth to restore the flow. The machinery hummed to life. Alien cadets stared. Many whispered, "Impossible. How does he think like that?" Alex moved to the next puzzle, then the next, each more complex than the last. His human ingenuity allowed him to find shortcuts the aliens had never considered. By the end, he had completed every puzzle faster than the fastest alien cadet, earning quiet admiration and growing alarm from the officers. Lunch was again a quiet affair. Alex ate his nutrient gel and reviewed the morning in his mind. He thought about how the aliens relied on their natural abilities and how humans relied on creativity and improvisation. Every challenge so far confirmed a growing truth. Humans could excel without superior strength or innate power. Elrix floated beside him again. "Your species, it surprises. You survive, you thrive where others fail. It is remarkable," Alex nodded. "We've always had to. On Earth, we never had the advantage of strength or numbers. We used our minds instead. It works." The afternoon brought extreme stress simulations. Cadets were placed in a scenario where a virtual starship was under attack. They had to make life-and-death decisions, save civilians, protect the ship, or prioritize resources. Most cadets froze, overwhelmed by the pressure and rapid events. Alex took a deep breath. He prioritized logically, assigning cadets based on their abilities. He made quick calculations to balance risk and reward. When unexpected hazards appeared, he improvised solutions, rerouting energy, creating temporary shields, and finding safe escape routes. By the end, the scenario ended with minimal loss, a result far better than the alien officers expected. The observation chamber was filled with murmurs. Kira's voice was tense. "He adapts ethically as well as strategically. This is unusual. No cadet has managed this combination." As evening approached, the final exercise of the day tested endurance and intelligence, a survival scenario in an alien wasteland. Cadets were dropped into a simulated environment with harsh heat, unpredictable terrain, and limited resources. Most alien cadets relied on brute strength or natural adaptations. Alex relied on observation and improvisation. He noticed a pattern in the environment. Certain rocks reflected sunlight, providing shade. Certain plants contained water. Certain gaps in the terrain could be crossed using makeshift bridges. Other cadets struggled or panicked, but Alex moved carefully and deliberately, using what he learned to survive longer and travel farther. At the end, he emerged with supplies intact and a route planned for future cadets. Officers stared. This was beyond endurance. This was mastery through ingenuity. That night, Alex sat quietly in his bunk, reviewing the day. He was tired, yes, but his mind was alive with ideas. Every challenge had been a puzzle. Every obstacle had a solution if approached with careful thought. Humans had survived harsh conditions on Earth for millennia, and now those same instincts and strategies were giving him an edge in the galaxy. In the observation deck, the alien officers held a secret council. Cathar hissed sharply. "He continues to survive. He coordinates, he thinks, he adapts. This is not normal, this is dangerous." Kira's eyes narrowed. "It is not danger in the traditional sense. He does not destroy, he does not cheat, he simply surpasses expectation." If he finishes this week, he will rewrite everything we know about human cadets. A crystalline officer tilted its head. We must prepare for the possibility. His species is more capable than we believed. We assumed weakness. We assumed failure. Yet here he stands, unbroken, intelligent, and adaptable. Back in his dorm, Alex closed his eyes. He didn't know the officers were worried. He didn't know the galaxy was beginning to take notice. All he knew was that he was human, and humans never gave up. He thought about the next day and the challenges to come. They would be harder. The officers would push cadets to the limit. But Alex smiled faintly. If today was any indication, he thought, humans can survive anything the galaxy throws at them. Outside in the observation chambers, the alien officers whispered again, their voices tight with tension and disbelief. He thinks differently, faster, smarter. Alex's third day had ended. The challenges had grown harder, the aliens more alert, and the tension thicker. Yet one truth had become clear. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and resilient in ways the galaxy had not expected. And Alex. He was just getting started. The fourth day of training began with an energy that was both tense and electric. Alex Mercer woke before dawn, his body still sore from the previous day's drills. The Galactic Academy's challenges were growing harder each morning, and today's promise was whispered about among cadets like a storm on the horizon, the ultimate multi-species scenario. Alex stretched, flexing his fingers and toes. He felt ready, not because he was stronger than the others, but because he had learned a simple truth. Humans thrived on adaptability and observation. While alien cadets relied on instinct, natural ability, or psychic strength, humans relied on creativity, improvisation, and determination. That had carried him through every challenge so far. In the training hall, Cathar's massive silhouette filled the doorway. Today, the reptilian instructor's voice boomed, we test your ultimate limits. You will face chaos, extreme stress, and challenges no other cadet has survived. Only those who think beyond instinct will succeed. Alex's stomach tightened, but he stood straight. He had survived the first 3 days, impressing and unsettling the alien officers. He could not fail now, not if he wanted to prove the full potential of humanity. The first exercise was a simulated interstellar rescue mission. A virtual starship had been damaged in a meteor storm. Critical systems were failing, and virtual life forms were trapped in sections of the ship. Cadets were tasked with repairing the ship, rescuing the beings, and preventing catastrophic failure, all while under environmental hazards. Zero gravity, fluctuating gravity zones, and sudden energy surges. Other cadets panicked immediately. The alien species were accustomed to their own abilities, but they could not anticipate unpredictability. Alex, however, paused, observing the environment and analyzing the problem. Humans had always been masters at planning and improvisation. He quickly divided the tasks, assigning the alien cadets roles that suited their strengths. The telepathic cadets monitored stress points, the agile cadets carried fragile components, and the armored ones held dangerous tools steady. Alex himself moved among them, repairing wiring with careful precision and creating makeshift stabilizers using materials others had ignored. At one point, a sudden gravity surge sent a heavy panel hurtling toward a young cadet. Without thinking, Alex lunged, grabbing the panel and redirecting it safely. The other cadets stared in astonishment. He reacts faster than instinct, one officer muttered. This is unnatural. By the time the simulation ended, Alex's team had not only survived but excelled, saving all virtual lives and repairing the ship efficiently. Most alien cadets had failed outright or had been forced to restart. The officers exchanged anxious glances. Even Kira, who rarely showed emotion, looked disturbed. Observe him closely, she whispered to Cathar. He does not merely survive, he understands and predicts. If he finishes the week, he will rewrite what we know about humans. The next test was a mental and ethical scenario. Cadets were presented with a choice: save a small group of cadets trapped in a collapsing environment, or redirect resources to a larger population at risk elsewhere. Alien cadets froze, unable to balance strategy with morality. Alex thought carefully. Humans had always made difficult decisions under pressure, weighing lives, risks, and outcomes. He calculated a solution that prioritized immediate rescue while simultaneously setting a mechanism to help the larger group. When the simulation ended, both objectives had been met. officers were visibly shaken. "He balances strategy and ethics," whispered a crystalline cadet. "No other species in our records has done this successfully." After a brief break, the cadets were thrust into the final physical challenge of the day. A shifting, unpredictable terrain that tested every muscle, nerve, and reflex. The ground was a mix of loose stones, sudden depressions, and rising columns of energy. Alien cadets struggled to adapt, relying on instincts that failed in the ever-changing environment. Alex moved deliberately, observing the terrain and adjusting his weight carefully. He used debris to create makeshift bridges over gaps, balanced on narrow ridges, and avoided energy spikes by reading subtle environmental cues. Humans had always been survivors, inventors, and planners, and now those instincts allowed him to move faster and more safely than many alien cadets. During the challenge, one cadet, a tall winged species, lost footing and began to fall. Without hesitation, Alex grabbed a nearby rope and swung across, catching the cadet just in time. Others paused in surprise. No one had expected such quick thinking. By the end of the exercise, Alex reached the finish line in record time, not the fastest, but the only cadet to complete the terrain without serious injury or error. The alien officers were pale with shock. Kira's antennae twitched as she observed him from the control room. He adapts instinctively, yet calculates. He thinks in ways that are alien to us. If he continues, he may surpass all expectations. The final task of the day was a multi-species coordination puzzle under extreme pressure. Alien cadets were randomly paired, often with members they could not communicate with easily. The goal, restore a failing system while navigating a maze of energy fields. Failure meant disqualification. Most cadets failed immediately, unable to synchronize. Alex, however, paused, analyzing each teammate's strengths. He quickly created a plan, guide those who could see energy flows, coordinate those with rapid reflexes, and support those who could stabilize unstable systems. As the exercise progressed, the maze shifted unpredictably. Other cadets panicked, but Alex adjusted constantly, thinking ahead and improvising when needed. When a teammate froze in fear, Alex calmly guided them through the danger. When a system malfunctioned, he created a temporary solution until the proper repair could be made. By the end, his team had completed the challenge successfully, a feat no other team managed. Officers were visibly shaken. Cathar hissed in disbelief. "He controls the chaos. This is impossible. No cadet should succeed in this manner." After training ended, Alex returned to his quarters. His body was exhausted, but his mind remained alert. He sat on his bunk, reflecting on the day's events. Every challenge had pushed him to the limit, yet he had survived. Humans had always relied on creativity, observation, and teamwork, and those instincts had served him well. Elrix floated nearby, pulsing gently. "You continue to amaze. You survive when others fail. Your species, it is unlike any we have trained." Alex smiled faintly. "We adapt, we learn, we survive. That's what humans have always done. I'm just doing what comes naturally." Outside, in the observation deck, the alien officers held another secret council. Kira spoke first, her voice tight with concern. "He has survived 4 days. He has surpassed every expectation. His ability to adapt, think, and coordinate it is unprecedented." Cathar hissed, tail lashing nervously. "If he completes the week, he will prove humans capable of feats no species has matched. We may need to rethink the limits we set for cadets entirely." A crystalline officer tilted its head. "We underestimated humanity. We assumed fragility. We assumed failure. Yet he continues. The human mind is dangerous in its unpredictability." The final words hung in the air, unspoken but heavy. Alex Mercer was changing how the galaxy viewed humans. That night, Alex lay in his bunk, exhaustion pressing against him, yet he felt a quiet determination. Only 2 days remained in the grueling week of training. The challenges would grow harder. The alien officers would push cadets to their breaking points. But Alex knew one thing clearly: humans could survive the impossible by thinking differently, adapting, and never giving up. He closed his eyes, readying himself for the next day. The week had already rewritten expectations, and Alex was determined to see it through. And somewhere in the high observation deck, the alien officers whispered among themselves, their voices filled with tension, awe, and a hint of fear. "He finishes the week." Alex Mercer woke with a mixture of exhaustion and determination. His body ached from the past 6 days of relentless challenges, but his mind was sharper than ever. Today was the final day, the ultimate test. The week had already reshaped how the alien officers viewed him. Now it was time to see if he could finish what no cadet of any species had ever done. As he walked into the training hall, Alex noticed the alien cadets whispering nervously. Some avoided looking at him. They had watched him succeed where they had failed. Today they did not challenge him. They observed him. Cathar, the reptilian officer, stepped forward, his scales glinting under the hall lights. Today's challenges are final. Your adaptability, intelligence, and courage will be tested to their limits. Most cadets collapse, fail, or freeze. Humans are known for persistence, but persistence alone will not be enough. Only the truly exceptional will succeed. Alex nodded silently. He had learned that it was not about showing off or proving himself. It was about surviving, learning, and adapting. Humans had always relied on their ability to think creatively when everything seemed impossible. Today, that would be his greatest tool. The first test was a multi-layered strategy simulation. Cadets were placed in command of a simulated star system threatened by a series of disasters: meteor showers, energy storms, and malfunctioning satellites. Decisions had to be made quickly. Every choice affected countless lives. Most cadets panicked immediately. Alien instincts were tuned to predictable environments, but the simulation changed constantly. Alex, however, stayed calm. He studied the patterns, anticipating the storms, and assigned resources strategically. He coordinated alien cadets efficiently, each according to their strengths. When an unexpected energy surge threatened to destroy a simulated colony, Alex devised a solution that no manual had suggested. He redirected power from non-essential systems, stabilized the energy fields, and protected the inhabitants. The simulation ended successfully. Officers in the observation deck whispered, astonished. "He anticipates events before they happen," muttered Tikira. "He is not only clever, he is extraordinary." The second challenge was a team-based survival scenario. Cadets were dropped into a remote, hostile planet with minimal supplies. The environment was harsh: shifting terrain, toxic gases, and sudden storms. Many alien cadets froze immediately, overwhelmed by fear and unpredictability. Alex relied on human ingenuity. He observed the environment, identifying safe zones and resources. He taught his team to improvise tools, purify water, and construct temporary shelters. When a storm hit, Alex used a combination of physics and careful planning to protect his team. One cadet, an amphibious species, became trapped under a falling boulder. Alex acted instinctively. Using a combination of levers and improvised tools, he freed the cadet safely. The others stared in awe. "He is fearless," whispered one crystalline officer, "but not reckless. He calculates, he adapts, he survives." After a brief pause, the final simulation began, the intergalactic crisis. Cadets were tasked with responding to multiple emergencies simultaneously: starship malfunctions, planetary disasters, and alien population evacuations. Time was limited, and failure meant total catastrophe. Other cadets panicked. Alien instincts could not handle the complexity. Alex, however, relied on his human qualities: observation, logic, creativity, and empathy. He assessed priorities, delegated tasks efficiently, and created solutions on the fly. When a simulated starship threatened to crash into a populated planet, Alex calculated a new trajectory using limited resources. He guided alien cadets to stabilize energy systems, rerouted supplies, and evacuated inhabitants safely. When an alien team faltered due to fear, he calmly reassured them, providing clear instructions. By the end of the simulation, Alex had successfully resolved every crisis, a feat unmatched by any cadet in the Academy's history. Alien officers were pale with astonishment. Tikira's antennae twitched as she turned to Cathar. "He finished it, all of it. A human has completed the impossible," she whispered. Cathar hissed, a sound tinged with both respect and disbelief. "We assumed humans fragile. We assumed they would fail. Yet he has succeeded where all others collapse." The other officers exchanged nervous glances. They had underestimated humanity. They had assumed weakness. Now it was clear: humans were unpredictable, resilient, and intelligent beyond their expectations. Alex stood quietly, watching the final results appear on the observation screens. He had survived, adapted, and triumphed. He had not relied on raw strength, speed, or alien abilities. He had relied on human ingenuity, creativity, and determination. Elrix floated toward him, its translucent body pulsing softly. "You've finished. You have completed the week. Your species, it is remarkable." Alex smiled faintly. "We do what we must. We adapt. We survive. That's what humans have always done." The ceremony was brief but meaningful. Alex was recognized as the first human to complete the full week of training. He received no trophies, no fanfare, but the respect of the alien officers was clear. Their whispers carried across the observation deck. "He is human. He should not have survived, yet he has outperformed every expectation." Humans had never needed to. Survival, ingenuity, and perseverance were reward enough. He had proven that humans could compete with the galaxy's most advanced species, not through natural advantages, but through intelligence, courage, and adaptability. That evening, Alex walked through the academy grounds. The alien cadets looked at him differently now. Some with awe, some with respect, and some with a quiet understanding that humans were not to be underestimated. In the observation deck, Kira spoke for the first time in full admiration. "Humanity is unpredictable, resilient, and resourceful. We assumed weakness, but we were wrong. This one human has shown us that humans may change the balance of power in the galaxy." Cathar nodded, still in disbelief. "He has rewritten every assumption we had. We cannot predict humans anymore, and perhaps we should not even try." Alex returned to his quarters that night, tired but proud. He reflected on the week. The challenges had been immense, yet every obstacle had been met with observation, logic, and creativity. Humans had always survived the impossible on Earth, and now, Alex had proven that human resilience and ingenuity were formidable across the galaxy. He thought of Earth, of all the times humans had faced overwhelming odds, storms, disasters, conflicts, and yet had endured. That same instinct had carried him here. That same instinct had allowed him to survive the week of training that had broken cadets of every other species. As sleep overtook him, Alex knew something important. This was not just his achievement. It was humanity's achievement. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries. Today, that perception had begun to change. And somewhere far above in the observation chambers, the alien officers whispered again. "He has completed the week. A human. He proves our assumptions wrong." They are clever, adaptable, and strong in ways we cannot fully measure. He had broken expectations, proven humanity's potential, and left a lasting impression on every alien officer who had observed him. In the quiet of the academy, Alex smiled. Humans had always faced impossible odds, and humans had always found a way to survive. The galaxy had noticed, and now it would never underestimate humanity again.